Now let's go to my hometown of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Standing by is the head coach of the Tristar Gym over there. The one and only Firas Zahabi is on the show now. Firas, how are you?
Great, Ariel. How are you?
Great. Thank you for joining us. A lot going on in your world, so let's get right to it. First things first, an announcement recently that you've partnered with Reebok. What exactly does this mean? What is this partnership about?
They're getting into MMA obviously very heavily, and they're supporting now, the top gyms, the top athletes outside the octagon as well. So we're partnering up together. They're redecorating the gym, giving us a new look, and we're wearing their clothing. We're working together to help promote their brand and promote Tristar Gym altogether.
Have you ever had like a main sponsor like this in the history of the gym?
Oh, yeah, of course. We've worked with NOS before, and we work with Quest Nutrition as well. So, yeah, we welcome the big sponsors as well. And it's great. It's great to have that support, and it helps us focus on what we do best, which is martial arts.
What do you make of the Reebok equipment? Is it up to snuff, or do they still have some time?
I love it.
You like it? Okay.
I love the gear. I love the look. I love the feel. I love the fact that they're bringing us in to talk about the gear and asking us to test it out. And they're really open to changing it and making it as perfect as we need to get it. So I really believe it's going to be the best of the best gear out there because they're so open to feedback.
Now, my big question is, what's Mr. Under Armour, George St-Pierre, think about this?
To him, it's all the same. He's got his sponsors. I have mine. Other fighters have their own. It's all good. It's all top quality stuff. But TriStars, we're with Reebok now, 100% Reebok. So it's just our gear. It's just the TriStar gear for now.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's not beat around the bush. What's going on with George? I mean, break it to me straight here. He shows up to UFC 196. He never comes to events in Las Vegas. He's just there. And I know Nordine Taleb fought. And by the way, congratulations on a great win. And then I see you tweeting about Nate Diaz and all this stuff. Is George coming back or no? What's happening here?
I don't know. I think he has the itch to do it, but it has to be a fight that he's excited to train for. I think he's done so much training in his life. I don't think there's many fights that excite him. If McGregor had won, McGregor's just he's just such a guy that, I don't know, he stirs the pot, obviously, like nobody else. It could have been crazy if he called out George. It could have been crazy if Nate called out George. Anything could have been motivating to George. I think it could have happened. Nothing happened. He went in there just to watch the fight. McGregor was supposed to fight Dos Anjos, don't forget. He was supposed to be the first man to carry 2 belts if he wins. So George wanted to be there for that momentous occasion. Not necessarily just for Conor, but also Nordine was fighting. We talked about going to the show. Plus, maybe McGregor might win 2 titles. That'll be huge. We all want to be there. We all want to be part of that big. It's a huge thing when somebody tries to win outside of his category. So for sure, we're fans of the sport as well. It didn't end up happening that he fights Dos Anjos. He ended up, as we all know, he fought Nate. So we didn't cancel, he's not going to cancel his tickets because the main event changed. But nonetheless, he was there. He told me, he did tell me when he was close to the octagon, he felt that feeling again. I personally believe he has a lot of fight left in him. He's phenomenal. He's still an incredible athlete as usual. When he does come to training, he was in training today. His performances are amazing. He's still the best in the world, in my opinion. And if he chooses, if he feels like going into the octagon, if it's just he has the right motivation, if he has that feeling, I think he'll show the world he's still the best.
So what's he waiting for? Has he just not been given the right fight? If he has the itch, if he's still the best, all this stuff, why isn't he fighting?
Honestly, I think he's doing so much in his life right now that it has to be a fight that really excites him, that he wants to push pause on everything he's doing. So it's really, MMA competition has taken such a huge chunk out of his life that for him to come back and put his life on pause again and put all his time and energy into training camp and all that, it's going to have to come down to his management and UFC working something out, working out a deal that makes him want to come back, a fight that makes him want to come back. So it's all on George's motivation. But George, to say that he's a very, he's a very spontaneous guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow he calls me up and says, I want to do this. And it wouldn't surprise me because he's a very spontaneous guy. So I think it's just that that motivation, that one fight he's going to be motivated to train for, the one training camp that he's going to be excited to do, he'll do it.
I mentioned those tweets. You were tweeting about the 209, which was, I got to say, it was big news for me because this is very much unlike you and George. And now it seems like it's going to be Nate versus Conor 2, thus eliminating two of the names that you mentioned earlier, the interesting fights for George. Does this now change things? Do you feel like now that they're going to be fighting that it's not going to happen? Or are there other fights out there?
Who knows? I really don't know. When I wrote that, it was a response to Nate's interview that he did. He did an interview saying he wanted to fight George.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think he after his Conor fight, his name blew up. He became super popular, super famous. And I thought it was a cool idea. That's a fight I would have liked to see, just personally as a fan. But I'm not a matchmaker. I'm not there to make fights. It was just a response to him asking for the GSP fight. If he didn't ask for the GSP fight, obviously I wouldn't have written those tweets. Any fight that can happen. It's really up to what motivates George. That's the only thing. George has won many titles. He's been in many fights. There's nothing for him to gain. He's got plenty of money. There's nothing for him to gain other than to do it for fun, do it for the sheer pleasure. So if he finds something that's fun and pleasurable and he's excited about doing, I think that's what's going to pull the trigger.
The elephant in the room is the welterweight title. I feel and understand that that's what they would like, Robbie versus George, and they haven't booked Robbie against anyone else. It seems to be a natural fight, a big fight for UFC 200. Why not do that one?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that motivates George. Lawler has lost to guys that George has already beat. And George, I don't know if he wants to be champion. I haven't asked him, hey, do you want to be champion again? Do you want to have to defend your title over and over again? I don't know if he wants to do those things. We don't want to really talk about that. We really just talk about normal everyday lives, our normal everyday lives. We try to stay away from talking about, these kind of things because we've done it so much. We're just kind of just doing what's fun now. We're in that stage. We're doing what's fun. We're doing what we like to do. And if George is motivated to fight Robbie Lawler, he'll do it. I don't know if he wants to be champion again. I don't know if he wants to start getting into the whole world of defending his title and going for the title and doing all these things. I don't know if he's going to do that. It's really up to him.
So that presents a problem. What about this fight, this Anderson Silva fight that we've been talking about for years? Do you think that's ever going to happen at this point? Is that the kind of fight that brings him back or no?
Could be. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't talked to George about that. So, for me...
Okay, how about this? Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Do you think it's been a problem? Should he have just sort of lied to us and said, I'm retired, so that we stop asking 1,000 questions as opposed to kind of being in, being out, the smile and all that? I feel like he almost did. He brought this upon himself and to you and everyone around him. You know what I mean? Because if he would have said...
it's just us being honest. It's just being honest.
I appreciate that.
That's the truth. He's not retired and he's not in the game right now. He just, he's living life a little bit, and that's the honest truth. That's why he played it the way he did. It's just honestly who he is, what he's doing. So he doesn't know. I personally think, if you ask me my own personal opinion,
yes,
I think he cannot stay away. I think he'll eventually get bit by the bug and he'll eventually do something spontaneous. That's just George.
Huh.
But that's just me being honest. If people like it, don't like it, what can I do about it? It's just us being honest.
No, I appreciate it. Trust me, I like you being honest. But is there a window there? Like he can't come back 6 years later, right? Like does it have to be in a certain time?
I think he can come back whenever he wants.
Wow.
It's all about how your body. People get old who don't take care of their body. I mean, the man still trains. He still works out. He still gets better. He's still improving. He's just doing it because he loves it. Doesn't mean he's getting old. It doesn't mean he's, martial arts, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. You don't get old. That's the impact sports. That's the sports where you get hit in the head thousands of times. It's not our sport. Our sport. Sure, if you get knocked out a lot, yeah, sure you can get old quick. But our sport, because there's so much wrestling and grappling involved, I don't think you get old fast. It depends how your style is. Blood and guts fighters get old fast. Technical fighters like George, strategical fighters like George. They tend to live a longer career.
Gun to your head, in your humble opinion, does George fight this year?
I don't know. Again, I don't know.
You can't say I don't know. You have to say yes or no.
I would say yes if I had to venture. Okay, but
okay.
Keep my quotes and keep my comments in context.
Firas says yes. That's it. We got it.
if I had to venture, I would say, yeah, he comes back in 2016. But again, it's no guarantee. I'm not confirming that. I'm not saying anything.
Right.
If I had to pick one, I think he's a motivated guy. I think he's in shape, and I think for him, it's just a fight that excites him. That's all he needs.
Now, what do you make of this whole story with Rory MacDonald? Now going to be a free agent and all this stuff. It's an interesting time for him. Where is he at right now as he prepares for this fight against Wonder Boy, a guy you know very well? He's been to the gym. Do you like this for him? Do you like, because there's a lot riding on this fight. This is very important.
All the fights are really important.
That's true.
I know we say that all the time. It's the truth. They're all important. They're all key fights. For me, I don't like to think about all those details. I just like to focus on the fight and the performance and let the rest of the stuff take care of itself. Yes, I know Steven very, very well, and of course we've trained together over the years. Years ago, we've trained a lot together, and he's helped us to prepare George for various camps. You know, he deserves to be in that number 2 spot. He's a rising star. He's a phenomenal martial artist, and so is Rory. And for me, they're the best of the best competing. So it's exciting for me as a coach and as a spectator.
When Rory says that fight against Robbie Lawler back in July was like the best day of his life, getting that kind of damage, do you like to hear that, or is that alarming?
It's not alarming.
Okay.
You know, fighters are fighters. You know, Rory is a true warrior. Rory loves, he loves the physical aspect. He loves the challenge. He loves the fact that he learned something he cannot learn other than being in a world title fight with the best guy in the world and fighting to the end like that. You know, you cannot learn that. You cannot recreate it. You have to live it. So I think it was just he's happy he's developing into a true warrior, a true martial artist. Me as a trainer, I like to preserve, obviously, his health, skill, technique. I don't push my guys to get into wars, but that's part of fighting. If you think you're going to be in MMA and you're never going to get into a war, you're kidding yourself. You know, all fighting is high risk. So these things happen. He lived something incredible. He was part of he's part of one of the greatest fights in the history of UFC, according to what people are saying.
Yeah.
So that's huge. That's huge for him, and I think he loves it.
Is the Sage Northcutt thing done? I don't see him at the gym anymore. It was like 1 week, and then that was it. Are you guys not going to train together?
No, I think we're going to train together again. It's just the kid's, he's studying, he's working, he's got a bunch of things going on. So when he's available to come down and train, we're going to be training together.
Okay. And a very interesting thing is developing at Tristar. There's this influx of European fighters coming there now. Tom Breeze, I just saw him in action in London, and Joanne Calderwood, and who else? Stevie Ray, and we've got Joe Duffy. Where are all these Europeans coming from? It mostly started with Tom Breeze. When he came down, he had a really good experience, and he kept a good relationship with Eric O'Keefe. We had brought Tom Breeze to spar with George because his boxing style, he can mimic Nick Diaz very well, and we just hit it off really well. And then he came down, and that brought down a few other guys who wanted to try it because Tom, had a good time there, and it just started pouring through, and more European fighters are coming. So I welcome them. I enjoy their, the different styles coming from abroad, and I welcome them, definitely. What about Joe Duffy? Tough loss for him. Any sign of his return yet? Or what do you hear? How far away are we from seeing him again?
After his last fight, he was pretty banged up, so we gave him time to rest. He's back in training now, getting healthy and training again, and when his management in UFC settle up on a date and an opponent, we'll see him back in action.
Is there like a limit to how many pro fighters you want to have at the gym? It seems like you have, and correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like you have more now than ever. Is that wrong?
We do. Yeah, I would say we have a lot. Yeah, definitely a lot. I don't know if it's more than ever. I honestly don't keep track of. I don't count them. But for me, the more the better. The more the better. We have plenty of training going on every day. We have 2 to 3 practices a day. We have plenty of coaches. We have plenty of people to work with. Everyone. I'm in the gym literally every day, twice a day. So for me, if there's 50 guys or 60 guys or 80 guys, it's all good for me. I enjoy it. I like the different bodies. I like the different looks. And it just makes for better training. And
then you have one special student there, your brother, your own blood. Firas Zahabi just improved to, I believe, 6-0. He was fighting in Saskatchewan. Yeah. How far away are we from seeing a Zahabi fighting in a UFC cage? How far away is he?
The UFC has expressed interest in him already, so we're going to be talking. Sean Shelby was away, so when he gets back this week, we're supposed to maybe get on a call. But again, who knows? I'm taking one fight at a time for him, and I want to treat him like everyone else. Just because he has my name, or we share a family name, I don't think we should, put him up the ranks any differently. He should just go up the ranks like everything else. Experience, doesn't care about your family name. Skill doesn't care about your family name. So I want him to organically grow like everybody else, and just let him have his own journey, his own career.
Is it weird did you feel strange about cornering him? It's got to feel different than the other fighters, right?
Well, it's family, you know. We're not, obviously it's family. It's a little bit different, but I try not to think about those things. I try to focus on doing my job as a coach, doing my best job like I do for everybody, you know. Every time I coach somebody or I train somebody for a camp, my job is to give you the most chances to win, to prep you the best. So if I think of anything else, it'll cloud my judgment, it'll cloud my decision-making. So I don't focus on that. I really just focus on doing the best job I can.
And look at you with the breakdown these days. You're really doing all these breakdowns. Do you ever have time to coach these guys, or are you just in a room doing breakdowns on street fights, on other fights? How do you have time for all this stuff?
Breakdowns are one take, my friend. I only do one take.
How long does it take?
One take.
20 minutes?
Well, when I do my fight breakdowns, it takes the length of the video. So if the video is 45 minutes, it took me 45 minutes. And
well, there's preparation, right? You don't learn. You just go and sit down and do it.
Absolutely. I watch all these fighters all the time. I know all these fighters. I study film every single day. So I mean, if you ask me to break down Cormier and Jones, I mean, I'm familiar with all their fights. And don't forget, I'm often at many of the events. So I watch all the fights closely.
Okay, Conor,
over and over again.
Conor Nate 2, who wins?
That's a good one. You know, that's an incredible matchup. Is it a welterweight?
Yeah.
Listen, if it ends early, it's Conor. If it doesn't end early, which I don't think it will, I give it like 65, 70% chance it goes in later rounds, and I think Nate takes it.
So you're actually one of those who likes this fight.
Likes this fight. I like every fight. I like all the fights. I'm definitely, listen, if the pay-per-view costs $100 to watch the fight, I'll pay $100. Of course I want to watch that fight. It's an epic fight. It's an epic comeback fight. Can Conor make the adjustments he needs? He was doing so well in round number 1. But then again, you know, Nate showed that he could take that left hand. Is there anything else that could stop Nate? I don't know. I think Nate's volume is too much.
See?
But I'm going to tune in to find out, no matter what.
Okay. By the way, it just occurred to me, George St-Pierre, Madison Square Garden, November. They're going to legalize it this week. It's perfect. It's all coming to... Yes. You haven't heard?
No. I didn't know they were legalizing it.
Oh, yeah.
In November. Officially?
Oh, it's going to be legalized this week. All signs point to this week.
Really? Wow.
Now we're talking, right? GSP, MSG?
Yeah, why not?
Just a 7-hour drive from DeCarry Boulevard in La Belle Province. Come on now.
We're probably going to fly it. Let's fly it.
All right, fine. Let's fly it. 1 hour flight.
Afford it. Let's fly it. 1 hour flight.
Yeah, we'll take Porter over there. Beautiful.
Fantastic.
All right.
Count me in.
Okay, Firas. Enough. We've bothered you enough. We've pestered you enough. Congratulations on the Reebok deal. Thank you for dropping knowledge, and we'll talk to you soon. And thank you for breaking the news that George is coming back.
Thanks again.
All right, there he is, Firas Zahabi, head coach over at Tristar Gym.